This educational video is brought to you by the South Carolina Long-Term Care Emergency Preparedness Educational Program, funded by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Civil Monetary Penalty Funds.
Welcome everybody to Duh, It's Water. You guys ready to play? Let's get started. Alrighty guys, question. The human body needs this liquid to stay alive.
What is jalapeno cheese dip?
No, yeah, not even close. I'm sorry, but the correct answer is duh, it's water. Okay, moving on. This basic element found on Earth is clear and wet, and you're both drinking it right now.
Are we allowed to use our phones? I think I'm gonna TikTok it.
No, please stop. The answer, of course, is duh, it's water. It's the only answer. It's the name of the show. I can't take this anymore. Please just vaporize them. Hi, I'm Jim with the Institute for Disaster Management. There are disaster situations that could cause your long-term care facility to lose your water supply, or that could create situations where your water supply is unsafe to drink. Hurricanes, tornadoes, ice storms, even earthquakes could all cause widespread water outages. You could have a local emergency with a water main break or some other type of infrastructure failure. However it happens, a lack of clean water is a serious problem. Your residents require clean water for hydration, sanitation, food preparation, and safety. And in fact, some nursing homes go through 100 gallons per day per resident. Just think of all the ways that you use water in your facility. There's drinking water, food prep, toilets, showers, and sinks, plus facility operations like laundry, dishwashers, ice makers, emergency sprinkler systems, and more. For the safety of your residents, you must have a plan in place to provide clean water in the event of a disaster. It's not just a good idea, it's actually required. So let's dive right in. Should you stay or should you go? In the event of a disaster, you can either evacuate your facility or you can stay put and shelter in place. Okay, too much dust. We can stop with the dust. That decision will be guided by the particulars of your disaster and by your overall emergency plan. But no matter what, you must be sure that clean water is provided for your residents and your staff. Here's Dr. Doom, AKA Real Deal O'Neill, with a story that you need to hear.
Several years ago, the Gulf Coast of the United States was ravaged by Katrina, a hurricane of immense proportions, as well as Rita. And we learned a lot of lessons from that. We should have learned even more, perhaps. And as you might guess, most of those were related to water. I was particularly concerned about some of the things that happened related to long-term care facilities because of the vulnerable populations that exist in those facilities. There were many, many well-intended individuals that wanted to help. And as you might guess, in the bayous of Louisiana, many folks own small boats. They brought those into the flooded areas and tried to evacuate people, to help with the evacuation. Unfortunately, the people had nothing but the clothes on their backs very often. They didn't bring water, they didn't bring food. They were on the boats for maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 hours before they reached the side of dry land. And then they were told to get off with nothing. Very often no caretaker, no food, no water, no nothing. Very, very sad. And we don't know how many of those folks maybe didn't survive, for sure. I'm very mindful as I think about that story and what happened to those poor folks of an old quotation, water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Very sad.
So that tragic story makes it clear that if you evacuate your facility, you need to make sure that you bring enough water and other supplies to make the journey. You should assume that any transportation in a disaster will take much longer than expected. Remember, you will need a supply of clean water when you arrive at your destination. Let's face it, people need a lot of water. But what if your water has become contaminated with, let's say, fecal matter? Towel, please, quickly. Let's look at some ways that you can provide clean water at your facility when sheltering in place. The most obvious choice is bottled water. It's a good short-term solution if you've run out of water only for a few hours or maybe overnight. It will go quickly, so keep a generous supply on hand. When storing your bottled water, also be sure that you don't stack it too high. Water's extremely heavy and it will absolutely crush the stuff on the bottom and you'll have leakage. Maybe you have running water, but it's contaminated. Having a backup water filtration system is a really good option. There are also large-scale water filtration systems that are mobile that can be brought to your facility during a disaster. If you need to filter water on the go, there's a variety of small portable filters that you can use. You could be in a situation where you need to boil your water in order to disinfect it. So have a plan for how you will boil that water if your electricity is out or your gas supply is interrupted. You can also disinfect water with chemicals like bleach or iodine or tablets. This requires some training and some supplies, but chemicals can do wonders when used correctly. Chemicals can also do a number on your stomach, so be prepared for the possibility of diarrheal illness if your people are drinking chemically disinfected water. No one likes diarrhea, but it can be a deadly serious problem for long-term care residents. Does your facility have its own well on site? It's possible that you're on a municipal supply of water, but you could also have a well on your property to use in emergencies if properly inspected. Remember that you'll need a source of electricity to pump that water. Other options include keeping large tanks of clean water on site as a backup supply. You could also have a tanker truck of water on call and ready to be delivered in an emergency. Be sure to check with your healthcare coalition, emergency management division, and other community partners. They may have connections to other water resources during a disaster. During a disaster, local breweries and bottling facilities will sometimes switch operations and begin offering clean water to the community.
Welcome to Soberfest. Enjoy your room temperature distilled water.
Oh, thank you. Cheers. Yeah, that's just water. Woohoo! Soberfest. If you're short on water, you could have a big, hairy problem with food preparation. So think ahead and stock up on foods that don't require water to prepare, like canned food, granola bars, or even military-style MRE meals. Tastes like victory. Okay, look, we need to talk about your dirty laundry. If your supply of water is limited, you can't waste it on doing loads of laundry. And if you use a laundry service, they may not be operational in a disaster. So keep a generous supply of clean sheets, blankets, towels, and scrubs on hand. Remember, you need enough clean for your residents and staff. Disposable linens are a good option as an emergency backup. You're really doing a fantastic job. I would totally help you out right now, but I gotta do this whole video thing. Remember, if the water isn't flowing, your residents will still be going. Number 1 and number 2 specifically. So you will really want to be able to flush those toilets. Here's a quick demonstration on exactly how to flush a toilet using a bucket of water. Fill up a bucket with at least 1 gallon of water. Begin pouring the water into your toilet bowl. Start slowly and then quickly empty the rest of the water into your toilet bowl. The toilet should flush. Repeat these steps as needed. Remember, not all toilets are the same. Always check the manufacturer's instructions for your particular model. If you don't have enough water to flush your toilets, here's some alternatives. The standard chemical toilet is a familiar favorite. These are the full-size restrooms used at construction sites and special events. It will take some planning to have these delivered or stored on site, but they are a solid option. Sorry. There are small portable toilets like the luggable loo. It's basically just a bucket with a snap-on toilet seat, but it can be your best friend in a disaster. These are very affordable, so you could keep a bunch of them as a bathroom backup, especially for your staff. Here's a nifty device to keep your fanny nice. It's an emergency bidet. I won't do a full demonstration right now, but a targeted squeeze of water, like this, can help to keep vital areas clean. Whether it's water, food, or clean sheets, it's important to keep in mind that your emergency supplies are limited. They will not last forever. If you shelter in place during a disaster, you could have extra staff, volunteers, and even family members show up to help. Encourage any extra people coming into your facility to bring their own food, water, and other supplies with them. We hope you've learned a little about emergency water in long-term care facilities. We've hit the high points, but there's a lot more that you need to know, including some very important rules and regulations. You know, legal stuff you need to read. You can find more information and links on our website. Thanks for watching.